Hi there, I'm Chris, and I'd like to tell you about my new board game, Capetalism.
Capetalism is a flower speculation game about stocks and bulbs for 2 to 5 gardeners. The game takes about 30 minutes to play and is recommended for ages 10 and up. So here's the deal. We're all part of a community hedge fund dedicated to growing flowers and profits. So, we start and end the game with a secret portfolio of 12 flowers each. The goal is to have the most valuable stock portfolio at the end of the game. Specifically, your final score is the collection of flowers in your portfolio multiplied by their individual worth. But how do we make the flowers in our portfolio more valuable? Simple. We harvest them from the garden. In order to harvest a flower or a group of like flowers, we must completely surround it with different flowers. Once harvested, those flowers go to one end of the market track, and we raise the value of the relevant flowers on the other. The game continues until the harvested flowers on one end of the market track intersect or pass the highest valued flower on the other end. This collision represents a market crash, so it's time to cash out. But before we can do that, the most valuable flower will bust and lose half of its value. So, as these two market forces move closer and closer, players must be shrewd traders, as well as clever gardeners, to win. Let's take a closer look at how the game plays now. A player's turn is divided into 2 phases, action and then upkeep. During the action phase, players must take 2 basic actions. The first basic action is planting. The active player takes a flower from the stock exchange and plants it as a bulb in any unoccupied space in the garden. We'll come back to bulbs in the upkeep phase, though. The second basic action is swapping. To do it, the active player exchanges one of the flowers in their portfolio with a different flower on the stock exchange. In addition to their basic actions, players may spend their CD trade tokens to do extra basic actions, or, once per game, they may each spend a CD trade token to flush the stock exchange and then immediately refill it. These tokens can cause some big turns, but once they've used their tokens, a player never gets any more. After a player completes their action phase, they move on to the upkeep phase, which is a bit more structured. It may have up to 4 steps depending on the state of the garden. Step 1. Harvest any surrounded flowers and move them to the far end of the market track. Remember, harvesting is not optional if it is possible. Step 2. Bloom any bulbs that have at least one empty space adjacent to them. If a bulb has no empty spaces around it, it does not bloom and it cannot be harvested. This step happens after harvesting because regardless of what a bulb will become, a bulb is not considered part of any flower group until it blooms. Step 3. Check the market track and adjust stock values as applicable. If you get lost, remember that the harvested flowers of any type will always equal their stock value. Step 4. Move and refill the stock exchange. Begin by putting the rightmost flower on the stock exchange into the compost. Then shift everything right and refill the exchange from the draw bag. This is the only step that always happens during upkeep, and accounting for this movement is another way for a player to control the market.
And that is it. That is all you need to know to play Capetalism. So, if you are interested in playing Capetalism, or, just learning more, the rules, Tabletop Simulator Mod, and all that other good stuff are linked in the description below. Happy gaming, and happy gardening.